this afternoon for
What
the
a
Titans.
wild game this has been. This is incredible.
Ryan Stonehouse, excellent punter.
Here we go, Leaf.
Raymond from the 10-yard line.
Oh, here we go.
Raymond has one terrific return.
Let's
already
go.
today.
Get some blocks.
For a second. Raymond up
Oh,
the
speed.
sideline.
He's gone.
Across the 30. Khalif
Oh, yeah. You had a Leam out front. See you later. If I would have told you that Jared Goff threw for 85 total yards passing in an NFL football game, you would have probably thought the Lions struggled. But in Week 8, the Lions completely destroy the Tennessee Titans 52-14, showing that they are the most complete team in all of the NFL. The Lions now improve to 6-1 and stand atop of the NFC and are in the argument for best team in all of the NFL. Thank you for returning to the channel. I am your host, Johnny Gaz. I appreciate you coming back for another video. The Lions open it up against the Tennessee Titans, winning 52-14. Let's go through a quick game review. We'll look at the team stats, box score. We'll look at the overall picture and get prepared for the week ahead. Let's go. Before we talk about another explosion of points, make sure to like the video if you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports. I would love it if you consider subscribing. We're just over 2,100 thanks to you guys. And if you hit the notify bell, it's the best way to make sure you don't miss future videos. There is a membership option available. I do all my live game play-by-plays, tier list, a ton of other fun content, but there is always free stuff for you here. Make sure to comment down below. What did you think of this Week 8 performance by the Lions? Only 85 yards for Jared Goff. Special teams showing up huge. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you think for the Lions moving forward for the rest of this regular season. I appreciate your guys' time so much. Let's get into Week 8. So I can't sit here and say that I'm surprised by the overall separation of points between these two teams. And I didn't expect 52 points, but I told you in my game preview that I just couldn't find many areas where I thought Titans had any sort of advantage. And in the end, the Lions really showed their true depth and what a complete team they are, where they can get you from all areas of the field, offense, defense, and special teams. My wife had a fantastic line during this game that the Lions can throw you 7 different kinds of smoke. And that's a great line from the movie You, Me, and Dupree. But it's really true. It's a great representation of what this Lions team is in 2024. So let's start by going through these team stats, and I think they're really surprising, and then we'll look at the big picture. Let's start with number one, the first downs. I mean, Tennessee had control of the ball through a lot of this game, especially in the first half. You see that they had 23 first downs compared to the Lions' 17. Total plays, 71 for Tennessee compared to the Lions' 47. And again, we'll look at more of the special team side of things. The Lions were really able to put themselves in short field positions multiple times during this game. The Tennessee Titans really did a lot of the things that they've done throughout this regular season so far, turning the ball over, making tough mistakes, putting their what usually is a good defense in tough positions that they just were not able to stand up to. Look at the total yards in this game. 416 for Tennessee compared to only 225 total yards for the Lions. But again, there's a reason for that. Total drives, even. Yards per play, even. Passing yards. The Tennessee Titans had 258 compared to the Lions' 61. And again, we'll look at the individualized stats. But again, Jared Goff did not need to have a big game here. And again, we'll talk about sort of some of what I thought the offensive nitpicky things are that we need to look at moving forward. But again, getting back into these stats, even rushing the football, pretty much even between the Lions and Titans. 158 for Titans, 164 for Detroit. But this is where the game really separates itself. In the red zone, the Titans only 2 for 4, and the Lions were 100%. 5 for 5 in the red zone. Again, a lot of it aided by short fields, turnovers by the Titans. Obviously, the return game for the Lions, both punt and kick return, set them up for short fields, and they were able to convert each and every time. Also, looking at the penalties, obviously, the Titans did not play a clean game whatsoever. 8 penalties for 60 yards. The Lions, much cleaner today, which is good to see. Only 3 penalties for 29 yards. And then again, the third stat here that calls out 4 turnovers for the Titans. Although I thought the quarterback play was okay at times, obviously the interception early on is really tough and set the Lions up for their first score. And then they just continue to kind of shoot themselves in the foot. That's going to hurt you. You can't turn the ball over. You can't give big plays up on special teams, big plays up offensively, and then can't get stops in the red zone and expect to beat this Lions team. And they showed you in this 52-14 victory. Now let's get into the box score, look at some individual stats. Before we do, I thought what's incredible is the Lions scored 7 times and 6 different Lions scored touchdowns today. Really incredible, shows their offensive diversity. And again, we'll talk about that as we get to these individual stats. And the Lions scored 52 points in 3 quarters. They didn't score any points in the fourth quarter, which again, pretty fantastic. Let's start on the Tennessee side of this box score. I thought Mason Rudolph was actually okay. Yes, again, a bad interception up front, and that's really been the Titans' MO, whether it be Will Levis or Mason Rudolph. They just get 1 or 2 really bad plays out of their quarterback, which seems to set them up in a bad way. But Mason Rudolph, 22 of 38, 266 yards, had the touchdown, 2 interceptions, was only sacked once. So I thought the protection was decent for Mason Rudolph. And between him and Calvin Ridley, I thought they had a pretty big day. On the other side, Jared Goff, we know, not his biggest day statistically, but was 12 of 15, so still very efficient. Only needed 85 yards, but had the 3 touchdowns. On 85 yards, only had 3 touchdowns. He was sacked 4 times, and I think that's one of those nitpicky things for the Lions. I thought the pass protection wasn't superb today. Let's put it that way. I thought the run blocking was really good, but the pass protection wasn't great. Kind of shined itself on that very first play of the game where Taylor Decker was beat pretty badly on a good sack of Jared Goff. And you saw that now Jared Goff sort of has a limp, has an ankle that we need to concern ourselves with, and that protection is really a main reason for that. Rushing the football, again, on the Tennessee side, and I said this in my game preview, I thought if there was going to be anybody to kind of concern themselves with on Tennessee's offensive side, it's Tony Pollard, and I thought he played well. 20 carries, 94 yards against this Lions defense, who usually holds up well against the run, and was pretty good today. Had the long of 17. On the Lions side, again, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sonic coming up huge, having the long 70-yard touchdown, but had 11 carries overall, 127 yards back-to-back triple-digit yard games. Lions as a team, 164 yards and 2 scores on the ground. Another game where both Sonic and Knuckles hit the end zone. And the receiving numbers, let's start on that Tennessee side. I thought Calvin Ridley was fantastic today. And obviously with the trade of DeAndre Hopkins, he then became their number 1 target and really their best offensive weapon. And I thought he was fantastic early on. That sort of faded away as obviously the Lions adjusted there. I don't think they game planned to have to double team Calvin Ridley, but he ended up with 10 receptions, 143 yards, a 47-yard long. He was really good. Nick Westbrook, Ekine had the touchdown score for them, 2 receptions for 39. Tony Pollard also contributed in the passing game as well, 3 for 23. Josh Wiley, 2 for 33. That was pretty much it for them. On the Lions side, again, they didn't need much out of their passing game today, but it was nice to see Sam Laporta get things up and running again. Really should have had the 2 touchdowns, but was held short on the first one. He finished with 6 receptions, 48 yards, did have the 1 touchdown score, which he caught from David Montgomery, so let's not sell that short. I did skip over that. David Montgomery had the fantastic dime to Sam Laporta on the pitch, on the running, the halfback pass. What a great throw. Perfect spiral. And it was not one of those like floaters. Like he threw it between 2 defenders, a great pass, and Sam Laporta ends up with his 1 receiving touchdown on the day. Let's talk about Khalif Raymond. We'll get into the special team side, but again, he contributes offensively, had only 2 receptions, 14 yards, but also had the touchdown. What a great play design by Ben Johnson on his offensive touchdown score. That was good to see. Brock Wright also involved offensively. Was put on the active roster after missing or being off the roster last week. Had the 1 reception, 8 yards with the touchdown. And Amon-Ra St. Brown found himself completely wide open. Again, I think that's just due to Ben Johnson's offensive scheming. Tennessee Titans just not able to keep up in the red zone with the Lions. Amon-Ra only 2 receptions, 7 yards. But isn't that amazing? And a day where Jared Goff, only 85 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 yards receiving, and the Lions score 52 points. Turnovers. One of the biggest parts of this game, obviously on the Tennessee side, not only did they have the interception issues, but they fumbled the football, and that's really the Lions being very opportunistic. Yes, there were some defensive issues. There's still a lot of issues pressure-wise, sacks, getting quarterback hits. That's just not there, obviously, now with the Aiden Hutchinson absence. But the one thing you can say is these guys are making plays. They're punching the football out, and Dan Campbell in his press conference said this over and over again. This is something that just kind of breeds on itself. The more guys see it happening, the more it tends to become habit, and the more turnovers you're able to create for yourself, and it seemed to hold true here against Tennessee. So I didn't think the defense was fantastic. I'm happy with only 14 points. It came obviously only in the first half, and they seemed to lock them up after that. And obviously the Lions took over from there. So getting into that defense, looking at the Tennessee statistics, I thought that Arden Key was really fantastic in this game. He had the 2 sacks. He was kind of a menace on Jared Goff there early on in this football game. So I thought he was really good. Jeffrey Simmons as well. He earned himself a sack. Also had 2 tackles for loss. Again, we talked about him in our preview. He's a super force in the interior defensive line for the Titans, and he was a problem for a little while there for the Lions. Jack Gibbons also good. Quandre Diggs, of course, Lions fans know, were also good. Having the tackle game. Amani Hooker was good as well. Didn't get a turnover in this game, but 7 tackles. So again, I thought there were some good things that Tennessee was able to do defensively, even in giving up 52 points. And again, a lot of that was due to special teams and the offense putting them in tough positions. On the Lions side of things, Jack Campbell led the team in tackles with 11, 6 solo. Terry and Arnold having the tackle game today, and that's really because Tony Pollard was able to break through the interior a little bit more often than I would have liked. So that put the secondary in a position where they had to tackle a little bit more. Alex Anzalone I thought was good and really is consistently good for this Lions defense. They are lucky to have him, and he did earn their 1 sack today. And that's really the biggest issue, I think, for the Lions defensively. I mean, it's not a hidden fact. Once Aiden Hutchinson went out, you knew they were going to struggle. That's where all their pressures and sacks were coming from. And although they've had moments and a couple guys step up here and there, I don't think they were able to get to Mason Rudolph enough. Now, they didn't really have to in this game. They didn't need to in the end of things. But early on, I just thought that they allowed Mason Rudolph to do too much against them. So it's something the Lions will have to continue to address here, whether they end up adding a piece or still shuffling more things around or adjusting that scheme for future games here. Lions ended up with a pair of interceptions. The ball hawk Kirby Joseph with another interception. He now has 5 on the season here in 2024. What a great pair of safeties the Lions have in both Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. Branch a little bit quieter today, but really didn't need him as much as they did in the week before. Trevor Nowaski also had that first pick of Mason Rudolph. Was a great play, stepped in front of it. Again, a bad play by Rudolph, but a great play by Nowaski to get himself a turnover. But let's talk about special teams, because to me, that was maybe the ultimate difference in this game. Khalif Raymond really showing why he is the ultimate special teams player for the Detroit Lions. They trust him. They put him back there in both situations, and he shined today. Jack Fox, let's start with him. I think Jack Fox puts him in such great position every time he steps onto the field. He punted the ball 5 times, which is amazing, because if you think about the game, it's crazy to think he actually punted the ball 5 times in a game where the Lions scored 52 points. But 305 total yards, averaging 63, I think, yards in those 5 punts, 3 inside the 20, and had a long of 67. But the best punter in the league. I don't think we even have to argue it anymore. If the Lions do have to punt, it's a clear advantage for them in flipping this field. Jake Bates, also good today, hit on his 1 field goal, which was his now season and career long in the NFL of 51, so that is good to see. Hit all of his extra points, 7 for 7, so off to a really hot start in his young career. But really, the biggest thing is the return game. Khalif Raymond and Khalil Dorsey combined for over 250 yards return in this game against the Titans. We talked about the low offensive yardage output for the Lions here in this game. Well, this is how they're able to score 52 points, because they added 250 plus yards onto that total, which would bring them over 475 plus yards for the day in its totality. That is just incredible. The Lions special teams were truly that. They were special today in all areas: field goal kicking, punting, obviously the return game. Khalif Raymond with the 90-yard return that we opened up with. Just really spectacular in all aspects. Now let's hand out some game balls and my game MVP. Starting on the defensive side, honestly, there wasn't many. I don't know if the defense really had to be huge in this game. Obviously, the Lions got it from all other areas. I thought, let's start with Amik Robertson. And although he was the guy that was beat on the touchdown pass, I think Amik Robertson had the 2 forced fumbles in this game. And I just think he's been all over the field anytime he gets an opportunity. He's a great veteran leader for this team, a great depth piece, nickel cornerback piece. So I'm going to give him a game ball for today. Kirby Joseph gets my other game ball defensively. Again, gets the interception, 5 on the season, is really all over the field. He's not afraid to get himself in there and hit people. I thought he was really good today defensively. Switching over to the offensive side of the ball, I got to start with the running back, Sonic and Knuckles. And in so many different ways, they complement each other so well. Jahmyr Gibbs obviously has been the big yardage guy here the last 2 weeks, and the big runs that they've needed, they've gotten out of Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think that's what they sort of expect. David Montgomery doing all the dirty work, which today included a touchdown pass. So both of those guys, to me, get a game ball. But to me, the MVP for this Week 8 explosion, the 52-14 victory over the Titans, is Khalif Raymond. And again, I'll say it, Dan Campbell loves this guy. He was one of the originals that they brought in, this regime, as a free agent from the Tennessee Titans. So it's great to see him against his former team have this kind of success. But he's ingrained in the Lions culture. So it's great to see a guy like this finally have his breakout game. He scored last week. He scores again this week offensively, but also contributes now with the punt return. And he was, steps away from breaking one this season, and finally got loose in this Week 8 matchup against the Tennessee Titans. So Khalif Raymond gets my game ball and the MVP performance for this Week 8 victory in Motown. Lions go off against the Tennessee Titans, winning 52-14, improving to 6-1. They stand atop the NFC North and the NFC standings and are in the argument for best team in the NFL. They will travel to Green Bay in Week 9 for a game of the week matchup against the Packers at 4:25 on Fox. Definitely come back and see me for that game preview. It should be a great week to determine who will stand in sole possession of the NFC North as we get to the halfway point of this 2024 NFL season. What did you guys think of this Week 8 matchup against the Tennessee Titans? The Lions showed how they can throw 7 different kinds of smoke. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I love talking Lions football with you guys. It's been so much fun. Again, let me know what you thought about this unbelievable output against Tennessee. Make sure to hit that like button if you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gas Sports. It's the best free way to help out the channel. I'd love it if you consider subscribing if you haven't already. We're just over 2,100 thanks to you guys. And if you hit the notify bell, you won't miss future videos. There is a little blue join button on all of my videos there. If you hit it, I will walk you through how you can become a part of the family. We do all our live game play-by-play reactions there, tier list, a ton of other fun free stuff. Always available for you here, though. Thank you guys so much. More than anything, take care of yourself and your mental health. That's more important than anything. I want to make sure you come back and see me on future videos. Thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic week. Go Lions.